All right, we're going to be going over the find command right here. So to get us started, we have a script. Let's take a look at it. We'll use less command just to briefly look at it. All it does is loop over 1 through 10 and then 1 through 10 again and make a bunch of files with different extensions in them so we could find them for us. So that'll make good practice for the find command. So starting off, let's go ahead and do find. And then we're going to use a period. That's going to be a relative path relative to where we currently are. Remember, in Linux, the period stands for your current directory, current working directory. So, and then we're going to use the name flag. We're going to find by name. You can also add an I in front of it to make it case insensitive. And then we're going to look for anything ending in, I don't know, let's say txt. Okay, so you should have found all of your files that end in txt just by running that command. So this is a very useful command because sometimes you need to find a file on your file system. And I'll give you an example here. I think we did this one last time, Joshua, right? It was index.html, and
Yep.
we looked in the root directory. This time, this is going to be searching your entire file system. You might get permission denied. That's okay. You can add sudo in front of that to elevate your permissions. And look at that. Now you found every file that matches that pattern, index.html. And you've searched your entire computer. That's kind of a cool one, isn't it? Joshua,
Oh yeah.
are you you got
Thought
your
you were like,
terminal open?
yeah, it's
There you go.
open.
There you go. So try that. Nice. You were able to find all of your TXT files, right?
Yeah.
Good. Don't worry about this one right now. Let's move on here. Uh, I'll go back to my screen. Clear, and let's run find. You can put a tilde here too. That's an absolute path. That's saying to look for my home directory. Find, iname, and let's actually look for sh files. So star.sh. This, you know, this is actually a really good command, and I'll show you why. A lot of people will tell you to do something like this, ls minus r, right? That's like a recursive option. So then you found all of the files in here. Sure, we found them all. ls minus r, that's a recursive option. But what you can't do is you can't combine it with shell globing, this pattern searching. You see, that doesn't work. That only works in your current working directory. So I don't know, Joshua, does that kind of make sense to you? Or, I mean, doesn't this look like it should work?
Yeah, it looks like it should, but like it only shows that one file.
Yeah, that's because most of these commands in the bash shell that have a recursive option are not going to allow um, you to recursively apply shell globing. Newer shells do support it. You could do something like this, like that's a recursive shell globing. That'll work like on a Mac terminal, something like that. It won't work in Bash. It'll work on newer shells. So in this particular scenario, right, that's just not going to do it. What you could do is you could pipe to grep and look for sh. But when you do this, you don't have the full path anymore. You see, I don't have a file named 3 minus 7.sh in my current directory. You see where I'm going with that?
Yeah, I see.
So if I tried to run a command on that, like ls 3 minus 7.sh, not going to work with this path that I was given. So when you use the find command, such a powerful command because it's going to give you the full path to the file. Look, now if I copy that here, I copy this and paste it. right there. Look at that, because that's the full path. Cool. How are you going on this?
Yeah, understand it.
Great, great, great. Okay. Now, next thing is, I don't know if you've covered this yet, but on the left, these are your file permissions right here. So we'll probably talk about that in a different day, but for the find command, um, let's say I wanted to find every file ending in SH, and I wanted to print their file permissions. That's pretty useful. We could do, you can add something to the find command. And you know what? Let's go to the manual. Man find. I'm going to search. Remember, that's the forward slash. Search for the word execute. Execute. Pretty big manual. So here we go. That's what I'm looking for. What this will do is allow you to execute a command. And this right here will replace the file name, and this will end the command. So you can check it out in the manual. You can read through it, but I'll show you what it does here. So find execute ls minus l, and then your little curly brackets, and then a plus sign. So when you run this command, let's break it down. We're gonna find, starting here, anything matching this pattern recursively, and then we're gonna execute this command on them, and that's how we end it. So when we execute this command, these curly brackets going to take the place for each one of these. So you can literally imagine that so let's run the command again without the exec. When you run it like this, we're going to take each one of these individual things we found, and we're going to run ls minus l on it to see the permissions. So it'll make sense. Let's see. Exec ls minus l. There we go. So now we've actually looked at the permissions of each of these files, right?
Yeah. Let's see. Oh. All right, so it's like just executing the command for like every file individually.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see how that can be like useful.
Yeah. So it executes this command on every file it found. And then these little curly brackets right here, that's what takes the place of the file name. So when I run it again without that part, you can imagine it's literally doing this for each one of them. It's going here and replacing this with that. Going here, 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 each one of them. And that's what the
What's
curly
the
bracket.
what's the plus for at the end?
The plus tells it we're done running the execute, like the command is done.
Oh, okay.
You could also use an escaped semicolon if you wanted. They'll do the same thing. The plus looks nicer.
Yeah.
Okay, let's make this a little more useful. Maybe I've got to make them all executable, right? I want to make all of them executable. Chmod plus X file name. That's going to make all of my SH files executable. And then I can verify that with the previous command. They all have an X now. You see,
Uh,
if you ran it before, there was no X here. Do you remember?
yeah.
So now let's pretend you had the task of making all of your um, all of your shell files, all of your SH files executable on your system. A lot of people will say like, oh, you can use chmod. Remember, you can't because if you do chmod recursively, it'll do all of your files, not only sh. And if you try to add shell globing to this, so if you try to only look for star.sh, remember, shell globing does not work with recursive.
It'll only do that one file we made, the make files. Or
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it could do all files, all child files, but it'll do everything. It'll do txt files, it'll do log files if you have the minus R. I can show
why do
you if
you
you like.
wait, so what does it mean to like make it executable like a file?
It means you can execute it like it's a binary, so you can directly execute the code, kind of like how we ran this file to make the directory structure that we're working with.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So instead of it just being an ordinary file, instead of it just being a file that can be read and written to, like like a log file, you read and write to it, you can actually execute it directly on your system.
I got you.
Mhm. Okay. Now let's say I want to find empty files. So this command is pretty powerful. Find type F. So we could do D for directories, F for files. Find type F, empty. Okay, I found all the empty files. These files are all empty. Maybe I want to delete the empty files. I don't want them. You can go find here, files, empty, delete. No more empty files. Look at that.
And if you use D, would it be the same thing for directories?
It would make dir um, empty, empty one, empty two. So I've got a couple of directories in here, right? I've got 1 through 10, and then I've got all of these empty named directories. If I want to find empty directories, these are the only empty ones I have. Type D, empty. If I want to delete them, delete. They could be nested too. So they could be quite deep in there. Okay, so there you go. You can see that we've deleted all of the empty folders. I'm sure you can see how this could be useful, right?
Yeah.
What if we want to find large files? Fine, we don't have anything big here. Let's look in our root, and you're gonna need sudo find the root of our system, size, plus 1 MB. Let's find anything bigger than 1 MB. Okay, so I've got all of these files that are bigger than 1 MB. Let's go 2. Let's see, is it lowercase m? No, capital M. Yeah. Okay, let's go 10. You get some errors in here. If you don't want to see these, then we should be able to do 2 greater than sign, dev, null. That's just going to get rid of error messages. That's all that does. There we go. Okay, find everything bigger than 10. Let's Let's do 100. I don't know. I want to get like a smaller. There we go. So now I found every, and you know what? Let's put type minus F in there because it looks like it's finding folders, maybe. I don't know. Type TYP F. Oh, no, that's good. So hopefully I didn't go too fast for you there, Joshua. We're
I got
using
it.
cool. We're using sudo to find from the root of our file system anything larger than this. You could use a minus sign if you want to find things smaller than it um, in type folder, and we're getting rid of our error messages, so we don't have to see them being printed to the screen. So look at that. I found my big files. Good.
And the type F only does files, not
Hmm.
directories. Gotcha. So if I did like type D, would it only like check like how big a folder is?
Um, a folder is kind of a directory in Linux. Other way around. Or what I meant to say is that a directory is a type of file. So I don't think it's going to reflect how big the things that are inside of it are.
Okay.
Yeah, if that makes sense. There we go. That's good enough. Okay, what else can we do? So we already earlier did find iname star.sh, right? And then we did exit and we ran a command on it. Okay, this is all that's left. Remember, we deleted the empty ones, so a lot of them got wiped away.
Oh yeah.
Now, what we could do is run more than one command. What if I want to run chmod plus x and then look at their permissions or minus x? It's not going to work because you're only allowed to use this one time. So to run more than one command in execute, you have to run one command. I'll show you the command. So I'm going to create a variable v equals 10. And then if I run bash, remember the shell that we're in is called bash. You could use sh if you want to, but I'll just use bash. If we run bash minus c, every time you'd run a command in here, you're basically running it in bash anyways. And then if I put echo $1, this might be a little confusing for you if you haven't learned scripting yet, but that's okay. So instead of doing this, echo $v, what this command is doing is running bash with a command. And this is the command that I'm running in bash, printing $1. What is $1? It's a variable that we're giving to the script. It's an input variable to the script. This is $0, this is $1. So we're telling it basically to, hey, run this script and take this as an input. Like this is a function and this is your arguments, basically. I don't know if that made sense.
So like if I add like another variable at the end, would it be like $2 in the command?
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
Just like that. $2, echo $2. And we can run more than one command in here.
Oh, so you separate it with like a semicolon in the commands?
Yes.
Gotcha, okay.
So all of this together is one command, but it runs two commands. So that's what we're going to do here. That's what I mean by to run one command, you have to run two commands. Or to run two commands, you have to run one. So the one command we're going to use in exec is bash minus C. And then in there, it might make sense to like actually you can put a script in here if you want, like a whole series of commands. But it would make more sense to do it in a file than it would to do it in here. So let's just do that. Let's do it in a file. So I'm going to delete my screen. I'm going to go vi my find the exec. If you use a plus sign, I found out that it'll actually batch the files together to be processed. Whereas if you use the escaped semicolon, it'll run each on their own. So if you're going to be running more than one command in here with bash, then you probably need to be using that. Okay, for those other examples, the plus sign was fine. So let's go ahead and save that. And we should also be able to like, put this on the next line if we wanted to, something like that. If we had like a big script we wanted to run in here. So something like that. Or maybe the should go here. Yeah, that looks better. Okay, let's try that out. There we go. So I just wanted to show you that you could put like a whole script in here and run it on everything you found. It's just that the way you end it needs to be with the escaped semicolon so that they're all processed individually. So if you think about it, again, that's basically the same thing that we did. Oh, wow, look at that. There we go. We did here, right? Bash minus C, command one, command two, $0, $1, $2. It's basically just running a command like this, but we're giving it a file name and each individual file. So that should be pretty good. I'm gonna cat that really quick so you could see it on screen. If you didn't get to follow that one, Joshua, that's okay. It's a little more advanced anyway. So let's table it for the next thing I'm going to show you. I think it's the last one. You can also find by permissions. So we can go perm, and then I think it was 751 is what I was looking at. And then we need to put where we're going to start. So let's start here. Let's see, find. Let's go back to this command here. Whoops, do ls dot slash my find. Oh, we modified those permissions. Funny. ls minus l. So if I'm looking at this right here, we removed executable, didn't we? Let's add it. Add. There we go. And then I'll run it again. Plus x my find.sh. Dot slash my find.sh. Clear. And ls minus l. So what do we got? We got 7. We have read and execute, and we have execute man chmod. So that should be read is 4, execute is 1. Okay. So I should be able to find, let's see, that should be 7. That should be 5. Ah, no. My eyesight is bad, isn't it? 755. Okay. There we go. There we go. So I don't know exactly what your file permissions are on your machine because we were playing around with them. But on mine, when I run find dot permissions 755, I found every file with permissions 755. So this is pretty good because now we can find files with specific permissions. Maybe I need to find all files with these permissions and change it to 700. So I could do exec chmod 700. And then for this one, because you're just running one command, you could use the plus sign. That should be good. Remember, if we're going to be using the bash and passing in input, we need that. Okay, so find here, permission, execute. So what we're doing is updating the permissions to all of our SH files, to anything that had 755, I'm sorry, anything that had 755 to this. So this is nice because now we can find things with certain permissions and we can update them to have new permissions, which I mean, if you think about it, everything we've looked at so far, we found large files, we found files that match a pattern, and then we've ran commands on them, files by permissions. So it's, we found empty files and deleted them. So if you think about it, this find command is quite useful. I mean, look at all these different options we used. Finding big files, finding empty files, deleting them. So, Joshua, what do you think so far? It's a pretty good command, right?
Yeah, pretty useful, like scenarios.
Cool, cool. Well, let's wrap it up here. That's the find command. Hopefully, you were able to follow along and can see the value of using that command. So, all right. Thanks for watching.